back in them times.
I saw that, and it is a similarity between the two, but I'm not for certain because it's so many different pictures of him. What I can say for certain is that he was a man of color. So the pictures that they have, initially they didn't have any portraits of him, but in those times, those people were black and brown people. The Jewish people that we have today, as I mentioned, there was another talk, that they are converts to the religion, and they have the second highest rate of skin cancer. Because they're not indigenous to that land, it's a very hot land. So they had to be black and brown. The depictions we have now are someone else. I don't know for sure who it is, but it's definitely not Jesus.
So you're talking about the European Jews?
Yes, that's what I mentioned.
Yeah, they came up with a more likely picture of who he would be, and still it wasn't like really an African feature person.
I've seen some they had on Discovery Channel that are really, I guess, ethnic looking, I guess, if you want to say. But ultimately, I think that people don't want to know what color he is because they believe he's God. And whatever color he is, they're going to look to God as in connection with that. That's the reason why Allah never came as a human being. I mean, if he came as a black person, then everybody who's not black would feel slighted, right?
It'd be discrimination.
Exactly. In the same way, if he became white, then that's the reason they made him white and they said he was God, is so they can use that as a way to colonize those people. They saw that this is God right here. He's a white man. You see him, so we must be superior to you. You know,
superior in some kinship.
Exactly. That's the reason why that everyone now wants to be one of the Jewish people or children of Israel, because according to their understanding, they are the chosen people, which means God preferred them over everyone else. So whatever those people look like, people want to be that, whatever that color is, and that color was black and brown again. I mean, there's no way really out of it. If the Egyptians were black, Moses got into the family of the Egyptians, he must have been black himself, so all those people were black and brown.
This is so important that we teach our youth this, because I was telling my wife, I laughed out of Sunday school one day because they said Moses' hand turned white, so I said it was black. I asked him, I said it was the color, because that's the language that we use, and everybody laughed. And when I was about 11 or 12, I remember I thought God was a racist because everybody I loved was black. Really, and everybody that I knew. And why am I black? Why am my family like this? So I was pretty much through with religion at an early age because I seen it as racist.
You know what? When I was a kid, first when I was studying Al-Islam, and they were talking about the Prophet Muhammad, they were saying that he was never amongst the polytheists. I used to think, is that really true? They were writing a story about him, because I was like, if everybody around him believed him in these pagan gods, why didn't he? But then I thought about my own experience. My mother had me go to church after my mother and father passed, but I never ever believed a human being was God. I never believed that picture of that man was God. No matter what they try to tell me, because they told me initially that God can't be seen. So I believed that, so they couldn't convince me of otherwise, And I also felt like if I can touch that person, if I can grapple with him or hold him, he can't be God, you know what I mean? And luckily, I guess Allah planted that in me in an early age, so I never believed those stories. I knew they weren't true, I just didn't know for sure what the actual truth was until I studied more, and then I realized the religion that my father was teaching me was the right religion all along. Yes.
I remember the scenario that was Muhammad put out when he said you have two little boys, the African American boy and the Caucasian boy, and they sit up under the image of Jesus until they're adults. If you look at when they become adults, which one will feel superior, which one will feel inferior. Just to look at the image of Allah.
Yes, it's absolutely obvious. I mean, I wrote something about just the idea of people who are atheists and people who are theists, right? If you're an atheist, you believe that this world is all coincidence, it's all an accident, right? And a theist believes that God created us on purpose and for a purpose. So if you teach a child that you have no purpose, you weren't here by accident. You teach another child they're here on purpose, and Allah has something ordained for them. Which one will be a better person? And the same thing with your scenario. I mean, if you raise them a certain way, then they'll definitely be guided in that way, So I definitely see the correlation between those two things.
So you're talking about the psychology of both of those.
Absolutely.
So that's where white supremacy comes from.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the reason you're broken down that way, and you believe that you are inferior to other people. And it's, I mean, the presentation that Kadisti did a couple months ago, she said it's happening in Ethiopia right now.
Yes.
She said when she was growing up, they had images of black Jesus. Now there are images of white Jesus and angels. And, I mean, you would think that colonialism, well, at least I thought it was over with, but it's still happening to this day. They gave them aid and a picture of a white Jesus. And like, this comes with it, you know. This is a prerequisite of me helping you. You also take this.
You want something to eat.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, so it's a means of persuading someone through trickery. I mean, if it's true, you shouldn't have to do that. You know what I mean? I was reading that book on the African slaves that came to the Americas. I think it's called Servant of Allah. That's what it is. And they were talking about how the missionaries, I think they came from Spain and tried to teach Muslims, the African Muslims, Christianity. And it was like they weren't having it at all. I mean, at all, because they already knew about Jesus and Moses and all those things. It was the people who were of the indigenous religions in Africa who had never heard of, and they were befuddled and amazed by it, so they believed, okay, it must be true. And then they came with food and other things and convinced them, okay, this white person is a representation of God. But Muslims weren't having it to start.